Hello and welcome to Insights with Thomas Caldwell on Thursday, September the 7th, 2023. Tom, what do stock markets generally reflect?
In a word, everything. Markets reflect economic factors, corporate information, news, geopolitical, societal changes, what's going on. So all of these come in, including personal emotions. All these come into the marketplace and are reflected in people making decisions with their money. And I think that's the interesting thing to keep in mind. It isn't just the company. For example, I might have invested in the greatest company ever doing whatever they do. But if the market sentiment is negative and the market's going down, I'm not going to make money. It doesn't matter if you have the best thing in the world and nobody else cares. So you can make money and buying really neat companies or the flavor du jour, but you have to pay attention to the wider spectrum that's going on in the world, people's general feelings. Right around what my brother once said in markets, our job is attitude adjusting. Emotions are one of the biggest killers for individual investing. And it can affect, if you're arguing with your spouse that day, it can affect an investment decision. So it's a bigger picture than a lot of the talking heads, including me, say on television. It's a bigger picture. It's affected by everything. And the general market sentiment is something I pay a lot of attention to. I've traded markets for over 60 years. And that's one of the things that is major in my mind. What's the general feeling of a market?
Okay, so what specifically, in your opinion, are stock markets reflecting at this time?
Well, again, there's several things. I mean, you hear interest rates. Everyone's talking about interest rates. When is Powell going to stop raising interest rate? When is it going to top out? The general feeling is that we're pretty well near the top right now. So that will cease to be a factor, and when, in fact, the interest rates go down a tiny bit. It's geopolitical. What's happening in the Ukraine and Russia and oil prices, all these other things. These are key factors right now. Increasingly, there's the flavor du jour in the high-tech stocks. You got to be careful in those, because the emotions can swing, as I mentioned earlier, either way. But there's a bigger factor coming in markets that I don't think we're paying attention to, and that's our, if I could use the phrase, societal deterioration. People generally aren't happy. We look at the United States, for example, and we like to look at the U.S. because that way we feel better about ourselves, but we shouldn't. You look at cities like San Francisco coming apart at the seams. Toronto's just like that. Subways are not safe. Traffic is a nightmare. Walking on the sidewalk and get hit by cars. Assaults by street people are common. And financially, the city's broke. So just take Toronto as a microcosm, and this creates a sense of malaise in people's thinking. It's not here yet in Canada because we're still all watching CNN or Fox and saying, oh gosh, it's bad over there. It's bad here now. And this reflects. There was an interesting headline today, yesterday, should I say, in the National Post. Why isn't Canada an economic powerhouse? Consider the education, the workforce, the tremendous resources we have, everything. Why aren't we dominant in these areas? And basically bad policy for all the parties, whether they be federal, right down to municipal. We're ideologues, everybody deciding how everybody else should live instead of saying, let's get some growth here to create jobs and prosperity for everybody. So these bigger pictures, the thing right now, as I say, is the economy going to do well? But the one that's coming up behind us, I think, is a sociological thing, that people are generally unhappy. You drive in Toronto, people are yelling at you with the car windows. There's a sense of negativity, and that affects markets as well. And that's coming, as I say. It's not here now, but that's coming.
Thank you so much for your insights, Tom.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. Bye for now.